Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here to bring you the latest in my habits and prepping series. Today we're going to be talking about cleaning routines and keeping your house running smoothly as a prep. Let's go ahead and get into it. Vegan prepper. Vegan prepper. If your family is like mine and there's one person whose job it is to keep everything running smoothly, the cooking, the cleaning, all of that household stuff, in our family it's me, maybe in your family it's you, but if there's kind of one person who takes the brunt of all of that, I think it's really important that there is a cleaning system and schedule written down that's accessible and known not only to the person whose job it is typically, but to everyone else in the household. It's just so important. For me personally, I love the organized mom method. It works so well. I was introduced to it just this year. For years, I've been doing kind of my own personal modified FlyLady system. Now the FlyLady system is still fantastic. I will link, all of this will be linked down below. The organized mom, FlyLady, the free printables, all of that stuff. It's fantastic. The FlyLady system is also fantastic. However, for me, it just never quite jived. It always just felt like there was too much to keep track of. Also, that there wasn't enough bouncing around in the house to kind of stay on top of different areas. I feel like bouncing around a little more often is great. She tends to have you sit for a whole week in one area of the house doing cleaning, and that also never really worked for me. So my modified FlyLady was basically to do her 5 cleaning zones Monday through Friday every week. It was Monday was zone 1, Tuesday zone 2, etc. And so that was how I made it work. But then there were still daily jobs. I was trying to figure out, what do I do every day without having to try to remember morning routine, evening routine, hotspot fire drill, weekly home blessing hour, what zone I'm in, dress to shoes, which I never did. Like I rebelled against the shoe thing from day one. All of that. So any of you who are familiar with FlyLady will know what I'm talking about. If you don't know anything that I'm talking about, I will link it down below. It is still a great system. It just wasn't for me. So introducing the organized mom method, which was fantastic for me. And so there's these free printables, level 1, level 2, level 3 jobs. Level 1 jobs you do every day, sort of the general things that keep the house going, keeping up with your dishes, vacuuming the main areas, making your beds, doing a quick few minutes in your bathroom every single day, clean in your bathroom every day, just a few minutes, which is, I think, possibly my favorite daily job as far as the difference that it has made in my own household, because it's like every single day you hit a different spot. So one day you might scrub your toilet, one day you might scrub your sink, one day you might dust something, one day you might do, whatever. So it's like kind of a different little area every single day. And by doing something every single day, your bathroom always stays clean. It's a miracle. But anyway, level 2 jobs are Monday through Thursday. These are supposed to not take any longer than 30 minutes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can see right here, these are the bedrooms. Wednesday's kind of the entrance hall and the stairs. She says in her book that day she knows that you're probably not going to spend a half an hour just on your entrance hall and your stairs. And for us, we don't even really have that. We don't have either one of those things. And so that day ends up becoming a perfect day for slotting in stuff that's not in the system that she doesn't really talk about, because every house is different. Every house has like kind of little extra things. And that's another thing I really love about the system is she built something in so that you can take care of stuff that she doesn't tell you about, because your house is different. So for me, Wednesday is typically in this room, doing the vacuuming and the dusting and keeping everything together in this room, this giant room where we keep all our preps and I do most of my filming and most of my studio work for my business. And so yeah, that's what gets done on Wednesdays for me in my house. Level 3 is where you do the deep cleaning. Every Friday, you spend about half an hour in a different area of your house on an 8-week cycle doing deep cleaning. So this is where you go. So for instance, in the kitchen, she has you clean the oven on the deep cleaning Friday, whichever Friday it happens to be. And in the living room, for instance, you would vacuum underneath the furniture. You'd like move stuff out and really get in there. And so that's happening once every 2 months, these bigger jobs. So in your bathrooms, doing the lime scale. In your kitchen, you like clean the fan filter of your oven. All that stuff. So there's a lot of really great great things about this system. I feel like this system is now my system. I love it. And again, I'm linking everything down below. So why on earth is it so important to have this? I don't think that I really have to talk too much about it, but again, if your family is set up like ours and you have kind of the breadwinner, which would be Adam, even though I'll win me some bread too, but not nearly as much. Like, he is our main source of income. But my primary focus is our household and the family stuff. But when something happens to me, if I'm suddenly unavailable for whatever reason, in the past, without a very clear-cut system, the house can fall into disarray rather quickly. And it's not like people are lazy bums. They just don't know what to do. Actually, my family are amazing. They're hardworking, amazing people, but it's like if you don't point them in the right direction, they're not going to do what they don't normally do, right? Like, I don't know, it's just normal. So being able to point them to a list when stuff is going down, or for them to know that the list exists and this is what needs to get taken care of every day, if for whatever reason I am not available, it helps keep things on track. So things come up, like in our lives, for instance, very soon, because my son, my theater son, he's involved in plays and shows. He ends up being, like right before a show, there's so many rehearsals. I'm not usually home. I'm gone all of the time. And so things can be very difficult to keep up on if not everyone is aware of some of the things that can be done to help out. So if somebody says, what can I do to help out? I can be like, well, what day is it? Go look at the thing and just sort of pick something, to help out with. I think of the end of 2020 when my mom was passing away. She passed away in December of 2020. The last few weeks of her life, I was very unavailable. And then once she died, for a while, I was kind of unavailable, right? Like I'm grieving, and so how can I help you? How can I support you? Well, look at the list, right? Although we weren't doing this at that time. We were doing my modified FlyLady, but even still, having some sort of system in place was very helpful to be able to point them to jobs that they could be doing and all of that. Actually, and then most recently, the thing that really brought it up this time around was I just spent 3 weeks down with a back injury. Several years ago, I cracked my tailbone, and I'm still sort of dealing with that. Although thankfully, I finally found a chiropractor who's interested in the fact that I cracked my tailbone. Like, I've told people this before. Nobody cared. But he's really interested, and he's working with me holistically to try to heal some of not just the initial damage that has already healed, but like all of the compensating damages that have happened in my body, the way that my body has shifted because of that injury, and correcting all of that holistically so that I can do more exercise and do all the things that I really need to do to make myself healthy. I was so excited about that. But regardless, these last 3 weeks, I was down with a back injury. And so again, what do you do? Well, there's a list. We have a system in place. And so people know what to do to keep things going. And more importantly, when I have a huge increase in my mental load, so for instance, again, with my mom, but like I didn't have that system in place with her, but I had a different system where I could just point somebody to a list rather than having to come up with something myself, like rather than having to, out of an already overworked, overstressed brain, have to come up with the things that I need. I have a list of the things that everybody needs. And this is how we take care of it. Anyway, it's just super helpful. But then, of course, what if some sort of tragedy occurred and my family suddenly lost me? What would they do? Obviously, there would be a lot of grief and sadness. If we lose any family members, it's very sad. But it isn't only grief. There's a logistical side to it that I don't want to leave my family with the logistics of the thing. Like now mom is gone, so who can do what mom was doing, right? Or how do we take care of these things? And so having a system in place and a list would potentially also help get them through tragedy. Like if something happened to me, they wouldn't necessarily, their lives don't have to fall apart. They're not left alone. I have begun following something, and I've left something that they know that they can follow, and then it would help them potentially through you know, some bad situation like that. I'm doing the same thing with some of my recipes. I'm going to talk about that. Another thing though too is like my recipe, it's like initially it's my get through college recipe collection of the things that mom cooked at home and stuff, but it's also kind of I'm thinking along those same lines that if something happened to me, how can I make sure that my family is still taken care of, in like all the logistics of all the things that I do and the cooking and all of that. But I'll make another video on that and have a ton of links in that video too for the recipes I use and stuff. But basically today it was my living room day, and I thought I would show you a bit of footage of that going down, doing the cleaning. It took me just over 20 minutes to get everything cleaned up in my living room. Even though it's been quite a while since I've done any kind of dusting or cleaning, again with the back injury. And because what I was having people do was mainly like the main vacuum, the main dishes, the main stuff. They weren't really doing like all the dusting and all of that kind of more detailed stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of footage of that happening. And yeah, just sort of see how it goes. It's just so easy. So this is basically every Monday. This is what Monday looks like for me, is cleaning my living room. Hopefully you enjoyed that and it got you thinking. And if you don't have a printed out system ready to go, even if you don't necessarily follow it, if you just get something printed and ready to point somebody to, you know, like I think that can work too. And so something like this with like these free printables, again, I'm linking those down below. They are not my printables. I really do encourage you to check this out. Check out her book. It's really fantastic. And then the FlyLady system too is also great. And I'm linking that down below as well. She also has a ton of free printables. And yeah, I think it's all good. Like whatever works for you is what works for you, right? Like whatever works for you is what works best. And so neither one of these things is necessarily better than the others. The Organized Mom is just the one that works better for me. And I think it has a lot to do with ADHD, executive dysfunction, anxiety, some of those things where like I'm weirdly super organized physically, like everything is just so arranged, just so in its spots or whatever. But when it comes to tasks and just those kinds of executive things, right? Executive function things, I have a lot of issues. And so something kind of really simple that kind of bounces around and hits stuff all over the place is just perfect for me. And that's why I really do appreciate the Organized Mom method. Although I have gotten a lot of really good things out of FlyLady. So I'm definitely not meaning to knock the FlyLady system. So that's going to be it for me. If you have any questions or comments or want to talk more, or I don't know, whatever, share your wisdom, whatever came up, whatever you thought of, whatever you saw, just let us know in the comments down below. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. I hope you never need any of this advice. See you later. Bye.